Right now, if the bank wants to foreclose on your home, one thing you need is a good lawyer. But a new study by the Brennan Center for Justice at the NYU Law School finds disturbing numbers of families facing foreclosure without legal counsel. Melanca Clark, Brennan Center attorney, joins us now to talk about the findings and what needs to be done. Hi, Melanca. Welcome to WNYC.
Thank you. Good morning.
First, why do you need a lawyer if you're in foreclosure? What does a lawyer do in that situation?
The lawyer can do a series of things for you. So if you have been, there are a series of protections at the state and federal level that protect you from lending abuse. So there may be someone that has enticed you to refinance your loan. What you might not know is that it's an unnecessary flip. They've basically done that to you to get higher fees, for example, to collect fees, and they also have, without you realizing it, entered you into something that has a higher interest rate. So that's a great example of a specific problem that can be addressed and identified by an attorney. The other thing that lawyers can do, there is a series of protections like that. For instance, in general, there's a requirement that the loan terms that you're given are accurate and not misleading. And in certain states, there are special protections for the elderly, for example. And so for those folks, there are actually laws that say you cannot give a loan to that person if you know they're not going to be able to afford that. And as we've seen, that's been a very big problem across the nation.
In other words, somebody facing foreclosure may not realize at that point that they may have, in legal terms, been duped into their loan.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. And most people, that get the notice of default and just want to bury their heads in the sand. But the reality is that there are things that that may be able to be raised.
Listeners, have you gone through foreclosure either with or without an attorney? We want to hear your stories. 212-433-WNYC, 212-433-9692. If you went through with an attorney, can you imagine going through foreclosure without one? If you went through foreclosure or are going without a lawyer, call up and tell us what legal questions you're having to answer on your own or anything else you want to say. 212-433-WNYC is our phone number, 212-433-9692, or you can post your story or question to our website, WNYC.org. Click on Brian Lehrer Show. Melanca Clark, Brennan Center for Justice, attorney, my guest. It's inconceivable to me to think that somebody could go through foreclosure without a lawyer. You need a lawyer present to buy a home, right? You have to have an attorney when you go to closing, or almost everybody does. And to think that at the point that they're going to take your home from you, that fewer people have lawyers than at the point where you buy your home, that's almost inconceivable to me.
No, it's true. It's a life-altering, event, and here you are without any help at all. But in fact, while you, the average person perhaps who thinks about owning a home would say, yes, I have a lawyer at my side, but many people, and many of the people that were subject to subprime loans, those loans were disproportionately targeted to low-income minority communities. Many of those folks entered into the loans in the first instance without legal help. So they've been, on their own from the beginning. And in fact, if a lawyer had been there in the first instance, they would not have found themselves where many of them are finding themselves
the
now.
Terms, or they may have just gone through the motions and been an attorney for being present at the closing, as many lawyers probably would do. But you have different numbers in your survey results by different localities and different groups of homeowners. For example, some startling numbers about people with subprime loans in Queens going through foreclosure. Do you have that in front of you?
Yes. So we were able to actually dig down into the weeds to see what the numbers looked like in terms of who was going through foreclosure. So exactly. In New York, we identified some particularly hard hit or impacted counties such as Queens, also Staten Island and Nassau, where the foreclosure numbers are very high. And we looked at those folks that had subprime mortgages. And the reason we were able to do that is that, the court clerks keep track of those type of loans. And we found in Queens that 84% of folks in foreclosure proceedings didn't have representation. In Staten Island, it was actually 91%. And in Nassau County, it was 92%.
91%, 92% of people in that category. That is people who had originally gotten into their homes with subprime loans.
Absolutely. The numbers are staggering.